Right now at 5:30, a late-night fire engulfs a Laurel County fast food restaurant. Several hours later, firefighters still on scene.
Also on WKYT this morning, foreign policy and race relations were the primary focus of last night's Democratic debate. A closer look at both candidates' arguments coming up this morning.
And now that investors have pulled out of the Centerpoint project, the question is, what is next? We'll have an update from city officials ahead.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you from WKYT. Welcome in on your Friday. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. You know, it's pretty cold and we're getting used to it, but eventually it will be spring, right?
It'd be nice. It looks like a pattern change in less than a week now, but between now and then, we have a lot of winter to deal with. Let's check in with WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, we're getting a couple of flakes in the far north. That's not really causing any issues. It's really down toward the south that we have to watch very closely. And you guys in the south always say, why don't we ever get the snow? Why don't we have a dome over us? And you guys in Lexington or you guys in northern Kentucky pick it up. Well, here you go. It's really focused in on you this time. South of I-64, now making its way across the Cumberland Parkway, inching its way into Adair County and also Russell County, Clinton County, Wayne County, you're next in line, Somerset, there in Pulaski County, you're next in line for the start of it. Okay, that doesn't mean it really starts to accumulate. I believe it starts to accumulate here in the next 2 to 3 hours. But there's your look. Temperatures, anything that falls, once again, it's cold enough, it will stick. We'll finish off in the upper 20s later on this afternoon. And also afternoon, we take a break from the snow for the most part, but then off into the evening and night, here comes some more snow. I'll show you how much you can expect out of that batch coming up.
Okay, thank you. In the news and new this morning, fire officials in southern Kentucky were very busy overnight after a fast food restaurant went up in flames in London. Yeah,
emergency crews responded to the fire at Lee's Famous Recipe last night. Crews on scene well into the early morning hours, trying to knock out remaining hot spots. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain's at our live desk.
Good morning. Eyewitness video sent to us by several viewers shows the intensity of the fire at Lee's Famous Recipe in downtown London last night. Here's that video. You can see the fast food restaurant was engulfed in flames at one point. Now, we just got new video in this morning. This is how the restaurant looks right now. Firefighters from the London and Laurel County Fire Departments came back to the scene about an hour ago after a hot spot was reignited. Firefighters say they got a call around 9:30 last night. The caller saw smoke coming from the Lee's Famous Recipe on the corner of Barberville Street and Main Street in London. The firefighters say when they first got there, they were inside trying to fight the flames, but then they noticed the roof was about to collapse, so they got out of the building. The roof then did collapse, and that's what took so long to get that fire out. Now, this morning they are still working to get that fire out. We do not know the cause of the fire, but we do know no one was in the restaurant at the time of the fire as it was closed, and no injuries have been reported. At the live desk, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
All right, thank you, Michelle. New this morning, Lexington police are looking for a man they say robbed a gas station earlier this morning. We're told it happened at the Speedway on Alexandria Drive just after 3 o'clock in the morning. Officers tell us they spotted a man running from the Speedway with a gun in his hand. They say the robbery was reported at the same time. Police tell us the man pulled a gun, demanded cash, and then went towards Devonport Drive. They brought in the K-9 unit to track the man, but lost the scent. Police say they are looking for a thin man, about 5'8", wearing dark sweatpants and light-colored shoes. And Lexington police say death investigations underway after a man was found unresponsive and later died at UK Hospital.
A lot of questions at that scene. Investigators say the man was found right behind the Nicholasville Taco Bell restaurant about 7:30 last night. And now police are trying to figure out how he got there and a lot of the circumstances. WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live from the scene with more on that investigation. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. Police say they rushed the 22-year-old man to UK Hospital last night after they found him unconscious behind this Taco Bell here on Nicholasville Road. Even though that hospital is less than 2 miles away, it was too late to save him. Now officers are trying to figure out how he died. Investigators say they do not suspect foul play. However, they say it was extremely cold when they found him, so they think his death could be related to these frigid temperatures. Just last month, we saw how dangerous this winter weather can be when a man died of hypothermia behind a business on South Broadway. The extreme cold will continue to be a concern as temperatures are expected to stay below freezing for a good part of the next few days. This morning, while police continue working to figure out if the cold killed the 22-year-old, we are working to find answers to several other questions, including who he was and why he was here. As always, as soon as we get any new information, we will bring you those updates here on WKYT and on our website, WKYT.com. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you very much. A question that has been asked for years: what is next for the Centerpoint project in downtown Lexington? And now that investors have pulled out, the city's attorney has said if a planned parking garage is not completed or the block filled in by March 30th, the city has the right to seek more than $4 million in reimbursement and foreclose on the property. A spokesperson for Mayor Jim Gray also says he will be discussing options with the Urban County Council. Now, from ground level, a fence wraps around the Centerpoint block and it's hidden from view, but thanks to a drone, we are getting a different look at what's inside. This video shows that deep hole that now sits in the block. The Centerpoint project has been in the works for nearly 8 years, but as you can see, not a lot of progress has been made. To watch the fly-through of the Centerpoint block or to learn more about the project's history, go to WKYT.com or the WKYT News app.
Really cool to see that drone video like that.
Right, and see how little has been done.
Yeah. Well, after a resounding defeat in the New Hampshire primary, Hillary Clinton is hoping to get her campaign back on track later this month in Nevada and South Carolina.
Last night in the final debate before those two contests, Clinton and Bernie Sanders were polite but pointed as they sparred over foreign policy and race relations. Marley Hall has the latest from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hillary Clinton sought to regain momentum in Milwaukee last night, calling the Vermont senator out on his so-called unrealistic plans for the country.
We have to also be very clear, especially with young people, about what kind of government is going to do what for them and what it will cost.
Secretary Clinton, you're not in the White House yet.
Both candidates then turned their attention to immigration and criminal justice reform.
I would hope that we could all agree that we are sick and tired of seeing videos on television of unarmed people, often African Americans, shot by police officers.
When we talk about criminal justice reform and ending the era of mass incarceration, we also have to talk about jobs, education, housing, and other ways of helping communities do better.
With the candidates neck and neck in the polls, minority groups are expected to play a key role in the next nominating contests.
There is no doubt that Secretary Clinton starts with a long-standing record and a long-standing advantage.
One of the more heated exchanges came when Clinton challenged Sanders for being overly critical of President Obama.
The kind of criticism that we've heard from Senator Sanders about our president, I expect from Republicans.
Madam Secretary, that is a low blow.
She made use of the opportunity that Bernie Sanders offered to her earlier today by criticizing what he called this gap in leadership from the president.
The former Secretary of State has worked to set herself up as the candidate who will continue President Obama's legacy, something pundits say appeals to the Democratic base in Nevada and South Carolina. Marley Hall, CBS News, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
The Republican presidential candidates will face off in their next debate. That will be Saturday night in South Carolina. You can watch that debate right here on CBS and WKYT. Well, hope is growing for peace in war-torn Syria this morning. Secretary of State John Kerry says major world powers have agreed to a ceasefire and to provide immediate aid to the country. Kerry told reporters in Germany that diplomats are hoping the ceasefire can be fully implemented in just 1 week. However, the ceasefire does not apply to any terror organization operating in Syria. The country has been embroiled in a 5-year civil war.
Former Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear has launched a campaign to try and save Kentucky's health insurance exchange. Connect was part of his legacy in the governor's office, but current Governor Matt Bevin plans to dismantle it. Beshear says if Connect goes away, many Kentuckians would have to pay more for insurance. But Governor Bevin says the state cannot afford to keep the program.
Governor Bevin prides himself on being a successful businessman. So he should recognize and appreciate hard numbers and facts and evidence.
It is a little unprecedented and a little sad, frankly, that after 8 years that he's still scrambling for a sense of relevancy, but that's entirely up to him.
Governor Bevin hopes to move the state to the national exchange soon. As part of his campaign to Save Connect, Beshear has started a new website. We have a link to that on WKYT.com.
University of Kentucky President Dr. Eli Capilouto has asked Kentucky lawmakers not to cut money for higher education. Governor Bevin is proposing cutting 4.5% in state funding immediately, followed by a 9% cut in the next fiscal years. Capilouto said the cuts would have a chilling effect on UK's momentum and would threaten progress in research and student success. He also said Kentucky is one of only 4 southern states decreasing investments in higher education.
New this morning, the Kentucky Supreme Court will review a lower court decision about a disputed race for the Magoffin County Judge Executive. In the November 2014 election, Democrat Charles Doc Hardin won over Republican John Montgomery by 28 votes. But Montgomery claimed fraud in the election. A circuit judge threw out the results and declared the office vacant. But Hardin has stayed in office while he appeals. According to our news partners at the Herald-Leader, if the Supreme Court upholds the lower court's decision, Hardin will be forced out of office.
Kentucky lawmakers will consider a bill that would ban tobacco sales to anyone younger than age 21. Right now, anyone 18 and older can buy tobacco products. But the Herald-Leader reports that bill would raise the legal age for buying both tobacco and nicotine vaporizing products to 21. State Representative David Wadkins, a doctor, is sponsoring the bill. It has passed the House Health and Welfare Committee so far. Time this morning, 5:41. Let's check live drive traffic and see what's happening bright and early on your Friday. And here's a look right now at your current travel times. Lots of green on that map. In fact, I think it's about all green this morning. No reports of any early trouble.
It's looking pretty good. And we just want to remind folks that we're going to be out there at the Kentucky Sport Boat and Recreation Show at Rupp Arena. So there may be a little bit of a, heavier traffic at some points in the day or evening related to that.
Yeah, lots of folks coming down to see all of the things that'll have you thinking about spring. Current travel times about normal. Good right in right now. Anticipating a little bit of snow here and there as the day goes along, so keep that in mind. More news coming up on WKYT on your Friday morning.
Halloween and Christmas holidays known for decorations, but what about Valentine's Day? We'll show you how a Virginia family is spreading the love a little bit when WKYT This Morning returns.
Hey, it's all about the snow as we approach the next 24 hours. Then we get off into the weekend. The weekend is going to be extremely cold, and then Sunday off into Monday, I think it's very interesting. We've got a lot to talk about, and that's coming up next. Couple of flurries, couple of flakes to the far north, but you look down toward the south and southwest. Now getting over that Cumberland Parkway, and really the heaviest amount is actually, if you work your way back toward Bowling Green and just south of that, well out of our viewing area. But it's now starting to get an inch into our area, like Columbia, like Russell Springs. Work your way into Greene County, Taylor County, heads up. Here comes some snow. Clinton County, now seeing that across the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. Whitley City, work your way into Monticello, maybe Powersburg, and also Somerset, Science Hill. You guys, in 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to be seeing some of these snowflakes move off into your region if you're not seeing them already. And Dunville now seeing some flakes too. Waynesburg, you're next in line. And look, really the southern half of our viewing area will have the best opportunity to pick up an inch or more. And when I say more, inch and a half, maybe 2 out of this, 2 max, down toward the southeastern area and the mountainous regions. But this is where we're expecting the best chance of snow accumulation. You get into central zones and northern zones, yeah, that's where we have some accumulation. It's going to be bits and pieces here and there. Not everybody will actually pick that up. But remember, this isn't just the morning hours. It's into the night too. So it's not an all-day thing. Morning time, you get this batch that's rolling through now. Afternoon, you're going to take a bit of a break, only a slight chance during the afternoon. Then off into the evening and night, here comes that wraparound moisture moving on through. So all together, that's where you could see some of that accumulation. But here in the next 2 to 4 hours, which puts us right into early morning commute, guys in the southern zones, you guys need to be aware that here comes some snow. It could throw down a coating to about an inch really quickly, and that will cause some problems there on the roadways. Here's your 3-day threat tracker. Let's get off into tomorrow and talk about that. Just a couple of flakes during the morning hours. That's not going to be the issue. The issue is the bitter cold. We could have wind chill values below 0 tomorrow morning. Got any 5Ks? Yeah, if you're one of those runners that go in the morning on the weekend, it's going to be really tough to do. You might want to back it up during the day. Then we go off into Sunday. Snow will develop. Sunday, we're pretty confident that it's just snow. Monday, confidence is still low on what type of precipitation we're going to have. I'm leaning more towards snow than anything else, but still, I do expect at least some type of a mix in the southern zone. So most of it snow with a little bit of mix, as opposed to most of it a mix and a little bit of snow. So lean more towards snow with a little bit of mix on that Monday time frame, and then Tuesday, yeah, we're going to be all snow as this system barrels on through. Really, we'll be more confident in this as we get into the weekend. That's when we get a little bit closer to the system and really see which way it's going. Because still, about 3 or 4 models that we typically look at, weather models, they're all over the place. Nobody's really agreeing with anybody. So until they start to agree, that's when you still have that low confidence. But when they start to, yeah, you know, okay, confidence is growing on this storm, but yeah, I'm leaning more toward, once again, snow with a bit of a mix as opposed to a lot of that mix rolling through. We don't want that. I don't mind all the snow with a little mix, but when you start talking freezing rain and all this stuff, yeah, it's not fun for me. So let's just lean towards snow. Let's just do that and just hope for the best.
Keep leaning, right?
Yeah, right.
Sounds good, Micah. We thank you, and we'll stay on top of it. Well,
but don't fall.
Right. And the time this morning is 5:49. You know, yard decorating, usually something you do for Christmas or increasingly Halloween and maybe some other times, but a family in Virginia goes all out for Valentine's Day.
They're feeling the love. Stephanie Loving, appropriately enough, says the idea of Valentine decorations began when she was little. She says she used to set out brown bags, one with Valentines and the other empty. Loving says kids in the neighborhood soon caught on and began swapping Valentines that way. In order to take a Valentine, all they had to do was leave one of their own. Now an adult, Loving fills her yard with several love-inspired decorations, complete with 4-foot hearts, pink lights, and a kissing booth. Loving says her yard attracts people from all over her neighborhood.
All right, looks like it's something to see and sort of her contribution
That's
to
special.
her area there.
I like that.
It is.
Coming up, you'll get the stories making news right now.
We'll check traffic again, see how things are moving along. We have health news, what's hot on the web and social media, and more on WKYT this Friday morning. Good morning. Welcome back in. WKYT this morning is on the air. We're glad you're with us. Kentucky Morning Start right here.
Okay, let's take a look right now at some of the stories we're working on for you at this hour.
The time 5:53. New this morning. Fire officials in southern Kentucky were busy overnight after a fast food restaurant went up in flames. Emergency officials responded to a fire at the Lee's Famous Recipe in London about 9:30 last night. This morning they are still at the scene. No injuries have been reported, but firefighters say the restaurant is completely destroyed.
Well, the race for the White House, especially on the Democratic side, is topping your national headlines this morning.
Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are turning their attention back to Nevada and South Carolina a day after their 6th Democratic debate. The two candidates were polite but pointed as they sparred over foreign policy and the economy last night in Milwaukee. The debate hit on issues of race and immigration reform as Sanders and Clinton continue to try to court the minority vote. European researchers say asthma may play a role in women with fertility problems. They found women with asthma took longer to get pregnant and were more than 20% less likely to have a successful conception.
Researchers say beware how much iron you take. A London scientist found even standard treatments trigger DNA damage within minutes. They said check with your doctor about the best dosage. 5:54 is the time this morning. Let's get a check on today's traffic trouble spots with a look at live drive traffic. The view of the map looking green and good. No major issues for you to keep in mind. There's a little bit of a snow chance today. Time to check now what's making news online with Bill.
Well, on WKYT.com, we are watching weather very closely. It's another first alert severe weather day. Micah says expect some snow showers to roll through today. It's going to be very cold over the weekend, and we're keeping a close eye on a system heading through late in the weekend. So stay with us as we track all of that. It has been a tough week for lots of school districts, and we have dozens of closings and delays once again this morning. Our complete list is there on our website. Also trending, that fire that destroyed the Lee's Famous Recipe in London. We're updating the information and adding new video as we get it in from the scene there. Our web poll is asking, do you think the Centerpoint project in downtown Lexington will ever be built? And most of those responding don't think so. 88% say no. Only around 12% say yes, they believe there will someday be a center point. On Kentucky.com, pushback from higher education. UK President Dr. Eli Capilouto says budget cuts proposed by Governor Matt Bevin would negatively impact every area of the state's flagship university. And the WKYT Kentucky Sport Boat and Recreation Show is underway at Rupp Arena and Heritage Hall. All kinds of things to see and do for the whole family. You can go there and think spring. It's going on all weekend. Invite you down, and for more info, just go to our website. CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 with your eye opener, and of course we'll have local updates. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and for the latest news anytime, WKYT.com.
Yeah, and that snow already approaching our southern half of our viewing area. Whitley City, you're next in line, already seeing that. Making its way into Wayne County. Pulaski County, here you go, and a few flakes already making their way into that region. London, Corbin area, in the next hour to an hour and a half, you'll start to see that snow move on in, but the accumulating snow still back towards 65. So it's going to take some time to move on in. Another 2 hours before you start to see that accumulation build, which that'll still cause some problems early this morning. We're going to go into that. I'm going to talk about tonight with another snow chance. Obviously, that storm for the weekend off into next week. That's coming up with another hour of WKYT News.